Hi, and welcome to dōTERRA U, the official podcast of dōTERRA Europe. Here, you'll hear from world-class speakers and experts sharing education, inspiration, and practical tips to help you live your best dōTERRA life. I'm Ludo Bolcato, Product Education Manager for dōTERRA Europe, and I'm excited to be your host. Today, I'm joined by Lindsay and Daniel Plantin, and honestly, where do we even begin with these two? They are the perfect example of what we call the dōTERRA magic, living authentically, creating freedom on their own terms, and inspiring others with the honesty and raw, heart-to-heart conversations. They truly show what's possible when wellness, business, and personal growth come together. Lindsay, Daniel, welcome to dōTERRA U. It's so exciting to have you guys here with me, so thank you for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
Yeah, a little
Totally
nervous about what you're going to ask, but I think we're ready.
No, I'll do my best to put you at ease. I'll be good with you guys. Some of our viewers might not know you, so would you mind taking us back down memory lane and just tell us how your dōTERRA journey started, please?
I think this one's definitely...
This one's for Lindsay.
Definitely for you, babe.
Yeah. Well, we first started, I was heavily pregnant and we just had a trip. We've been traveling for a few months with our 1.5-year-old and I was pregnant, and then my health had gone a little bit downhill. My pelvis was beginning to degrade.
Okay.
And so then one of my best friends, Rebecca Bowles, who you may know, came and said, I've discovered these amazing oils and they've been doing this, and telling me all these amazing things they've been doing. And I'm going to do this as a business. Do you want to do it with me? And I literally looked at her and I was like, no, I just want to walk properly. That would be all I would like right now. And so that's kind of the beginning so she gave me a few oils, which we now know as sampling. So she gave me a few oils and we started using them on our son who had kind of gut issues and things. Yeah. And then she calls back a few weeks later and she's like, I'd really like to give you some oils and you just need to pay for your account. And I was like, that's the catch. This is the catch. And so we're discussing, and she said, I'd really like to have you as one of our partners I work with, which now looking back, I'm like, gosh, that's the biggest compliment she could have ever given me. She was so adamant she wanted to work with me, which was really, really lovely. And then Daniel says to me, he's like, well, the worst question for someone who suffers from FOMO, she says, well, how would you feel if Bex is traveling all over the world and she's really successful with dōTERRA, and you decided not to do it with her? I was like, well, that would be rubbish. Yeah. And just fast forward a few years and that's exactly what we were doing. And literally it's been 11 years, but for 10 years we've been traveling all over the world together. And I love that all of our business trips, I get to hang out with one of my best friends.
That's amazing.
And now we get to do it together because we're all hanging out with her husband. So we're all just hanging out together. And so it's kind of come true. We literally, what Daniel predicted is exactly what happened. And that's how, so cool. And it was solving a problem I think this is one of the biggest things with dōTERRA is that we get to solve someone's problem and then invite them to solve it themselves. Yeah. And that's what she did. She kind of gave me a taster of some of the problems it could solve. And then invited me to do a bit more. And actually that point, that was when my pelvis really went downhill. And so it was a lot of health struggles at the time. And so dōTERRA kind of became something I could be good at, even when I felt like I was rubbish at everything else. I wasn't the mum I wanted to be. I wasn't the wife I wanted to be, or the sister or anyone, but I could teach a class. Yeah. I had to sit to teach the class, but I could teach a class and I could bring oils to other people, and that was really lovely. So that was kind of the beginning of the journey. Daniel still thought this was 2014. Okay. So I always know when we started because it was 3 days before our daughter was born. So that was where we began. And Daniel was like, if this is what you'd like to do with your spare time as your hobby, then that's fine by me. That was Daniel's approach. So that's how it began, was my hobby. Yeah.
And when have you joined, Daniel?
So Lindsay's
officially,
still have I? No, Lindsay's absolutely right. I think my thing was I realised at the time Lindsay's she wants to be the best mum that she can be, and you are. I know you don't believe it, but you are. But that's the main thing for Lindsay, and so I was worried because time was so short that any time that she would have for herself, whether she'd go out with her sisters or friends or go dancing, stuff like that, that she was now going to use that to share the oils. And I was kind of nervous about that. So that's why I was like, if this is what you want to do with the small amounts of time that you still have left over, then it's on you. But so at first I was like, this is something dodgy. What is going on here? These oils, it's
Weird people.
Pyramid scheme, snake oils, but you go for it, whatever. It's all good. But certainly, I'll be honest, it was when some money started coming in. And I think the first time I was like, you're spending way too much money on these oils. We don't need all of this. And you were like, well, actually, check this out. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on here?
It's
free. And I'm like, I can't say anything now, which was frustrating. But then I do remember I was at a crossroads. I was actually going to start up a smart home company is what I was going to do. And then Lindsay said, well, why don't you try and do this for kind of 6 months and let's see how you get on. 6 months has turned into pretty much 8 years now. And my trial, I'm still on trial now.
Well, we'll see after the podcast.
We'll review at the end of the podcast.
We didn't plan this, by the way. It's just like
Actually, it was funny, and I think one of the things that I really like seeing is that, and Daniel's definitely been an example of this, is that the moment that Daniel really stepped into it, I was heavily pregnant with our third child, and I'd been doing fairs and then teaching a workshop and fairs and teaching a workshop. And there was a fair, and I just said, like, I'm not standing all day. Like, I was 8 months pregnant. I'm just not doing it. So either you go and do the fair, or no one will be at the fair. And Daniel was like, I don't want to do that. I don't know enough about oils. And I was like, well, you'll be fine. Just go. And literally 20 minutes later, like 20 minutes after the beginning of this fair, I get a message going, I sold a Home Essentials kit. And I just thought, there you go.
Literally, first lady came up to me, and it actually turned out
she's still a
Leo's
customer. Yeah.
And even what was worse is she then said, I would have bought your biggest kit. Yeah, she still needs to buy that, actually. I need to call her. Come on, I'll follow that up.
Come on, Emma.
Okay, we'll create a special kit for this lady.
And I think that's one of the things I like is that people often don't believe what they're capable of. And so doTERRA can really kind of push you to the limits of your comfort zone and make you step into something a little bit more. And it's so beautiful to see that over and over again, like to see it for Daniel, but to see it for our team. And, each of us are kind of each time stretching our comfort zone to do something better. And I love that. That's one of the best parts about it.
And have you kind of like become different people along the journey? Like, have you evolved? Have you changed?
Definitely. I mean, it's been 10 years. I hope we have. 11 years. So I think we've changed in terms of, well, we started with a little toddler and now we have a teenager and a preteen girl. Yeah. That definitely changes you. So there's that side of it that we have to kind of evolve with our family. But as leaders, I think there's I think imposter syndrome comes in still. There's definitely always that like, why would you be here on this podcast? Who are you to be speaking to other people? But I think kind of recognizing some of your strengths a little bit more and kind of feeling like, actually, I actually do have something quite special and people do want to listen to me. And I'm like, and it really, really makes me feel like, it makes me cry often when people are really like, just when we reached Blue Diamond and then we got so many lovely videos and messages. And actually I thought, they're really genuinely happy for us. And that really touched me, like just so much love and happiness for the people around you. So I think it helps you to grow into a more confident version, I think, of yourself. So it will enhance whatever you already have there, I would say. So if you're someone who wants to be kind, then it'll make you even kinder. Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's nice. I can't add anything to that. What am I supposed to add after that? It's like you bring out the big guns, all emotional. I'm like, that's really lovely. It's really amazing. There's nothing melted at this point. There's nothing. What? I'm just ruining it. It's too good. There's nothing more I can add to that.
You can.
No, you dropped the mic. If you could, if it wasn't on one of these. So,
But I know doTERRA can stretch, your boundaries and your limit and push you like close to your limit. So has there ever been a moment where you felt like you were reaching your limit and you kind of almost walked away from doTERRA? And if so, are you comfortable to share?
Yeah, I think we should. I think it's easy, and this is one of the things about social media. I think it's a big thing. It's like a lot of people project like this life, and I think it's so challenging for us as parents, individuals, anybody. Like, you have these guys. I split my day in two. I actually have 2 days a day. I'm up from this time to this time, and I've been to the gym, and I've done this, and I've done my ice face bath, and I've done this. You know who I'm talking about. There's all of this stuff, and there's so much pressure. So I think it is important to say, yeah, we've had many of those conversations. Is this the right thing? Is this the right direction of travel for us, our family? Can we do this? Do we want to do it? And I think really for me now, my key things when I speak to people who are doing the business with us is, what is it that you actually want? Because I often hear people say, oh, I'd like to be diamond, I'd like to be blue diamond, but what does that actually look like when you reach that? What will it enable you to do? And I think we need to sometimes drill down on that, because it's all very well saying I want to change the world one drop at a time, but what does that actually look like? What does it mean? I know for Lindsay, for example, one of the things is, her mum lives in France and wants to do lots of things in the land there, and then you're very keen about helping lots of people. For me, certainly one of the things that I love is seeing people whose lives have changed. Like, for example, we've got a lady in our team, Lisa. She was a driving instructor, and now she's no longer a driving instructor. She's able to do doTERRA. And then another lady, Rachel, she had a franchise. She's no longer having to do that. She can focus on doTERRA, and I find that really inspiring. However, it is hard, and I know it's cheesy. They say it's called network marketing because the work part's really key. But we've never done anything like this before. So we are not professional direct sellers. We're just a guy and a gal who love oils, love doTERRA. We're like telling everybody about it, and come along with us. We'll have fun, lots of laughter along the way, as you well know. So yeah, we have had those discussions, and I think it's important to kind of go back over, analyze where you're at, where you want to go, and most importantly, is doTERRA the vehicle that can get you there? We firmly believe it is. So every time we have these conversations, we're like, yeah, this is the right place.
I think also the way you do it has evolved. The way we've done it since the beginning. So when I remember the month we reached Diamond, and we got to the end of the month, and I taught something ridiculous like 20 classes that month. And Luke was tiny, so every class I taught, he was with me, he was teaching too, which was one of the things I loved about doTERRA, is that even when we were, I was doing doTERRA, I was still mummy, and I loved that. I loved that I never had to sacrifice that. So he's travelled all over the world with me. So there's always my class bag, my oils, my toy bag, or like whatever he needed to come with me. And it was brilliant. And so I loved that. But I remember at the end of that Diamond month, I was absolutely on my knees. And then the month doesn't end, and then everyone leaves you alone. Yeah. The month ends, and then it continues. Oh, yeah. And at that point, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm out. And I literally took the kids and went to my dad's. I was like, you can figure the rest out, because I was so tired. And so I wasn't walking away from doTERRA. I just needed to kind of protect myself a little bit. And so that was something. And what was the massive contrast was with when we reached Blue Diamond, we had our niece's wedding during that month. And so I'd had 4 days out, like decorating the hall and whatever needed to be done for that. And so I'd protected that time. Because I knew that was happening, and we knew that was when we were reaching it. And so it wasn't. I got to the end of the month, and when we thought, actually, we did it. I'm not on my knees. I can still carry on. I didn't feel like I needed to run away from everyone. And so we have had those moments where we've questioned it and evaluated it. We've also had learning opportunities to change the way we're doing it so that it doesn't totally break us along the way. But I think that question is really important to ask ourselves all the time. And also sometimes we've asked people like, well, do you want to stop? Actually, Bex asked me that question because I always have that. No, she asks me that question. I think it was years ago, maybe 2 years in. To be fair, we have this conversation on rotation, like, I'm spending too much time away from the children.
Because it's cyclical, like.
Exactly. And as Dan has mentioned, it's always, for me, it's always like, am I there for the children enough? And like, that's always my priority. And there's definitely cycles where I feel like I am, and others where I feel like I've kind of need to claw some time back. And so Bex had said to me, well, you know, do you want to stop? Because there's totally a way out if you want to stop. And we're one of their frontline leaders. And I remember thinking like, no, I don't want to stop. But I think it's really important that you're never held to ransom. There's no contract to say that you have to do doTERRA forever, which is kind of a blessing and a curse. But I think it means that we're choosing, like, maybe not every day because we're not making the decision every day, but you know, every month, every year, we're choosing that doTERRA is the way that we're going to support our family. And I think that's really powerful.
I think
to
keyword
feel like
choosing.
Yeah, we're choosing it. And that because so many people are kind of going through things at work or, you know, at home, and they're not really choosing. They're just kind of going through the motions. Oh my gosh, that feels like hell to me. I would hate to be in a job or in a place where it's just, you just have to go through the motions. And I think that would be torture. And I realise that that's a privilege that I've never felt like that. As a teacher, I didn't feel like that either. But I was a maths and science teacher before. Total geek. But I think it's to know that you're doing something worthwhile and that you are choosing to do that is amazing and a real privilege.
So we touched on a little bit about family, and obviously you were together as a couple. How do you stay sane both when you're you know, like a couple and when you're doing the business?
I think doTERRA is such a massive part of our life. Like it's not really separate. I remember when Lindsay was a teacher and I was had my job working in real estate, that I felt very easy. I could come in the front door and work stopped. Lindsay still brought home work, but for us, certainly, I think, like, I know I'm batting well above my average when it comes to I've done well. I'm often told I've done well.
You've done well.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have also done well. Just to clarify. All right.
I'm agreeing, my love.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I totally got that. But I think we're very honest with how, and we don't always agree. But one of the things that we've kind of learnt to do is, and we did this quite a bit, where we would go, when we would discuss doTERRA, we would do it in open spaces outside, which I think is pretty good. But we both have our own ways. We both have our own. But I think normally, because our goal and purpose is the same, which is ultimately to serve and help our team and help others and create a real impact for them and for us and everyone we come into contact. I think that helps. We have that same goal. And I think, yes, we might have different ways of getting there, but I'm also very clear on, I know what Lindsay's really good at, and she knows what I'm really good at, because I think it's hard, especially for guys coming into what is very much a female dominant. And that's cool. You know, you women got it right, and I'll give you that one. So I came in late, and I did try and reinvent the wheel, but really that was quite a humbling experience, and maybe we'll touch on that later. But certainly for me, I did the things in the beginning that you didn't want to do, like the back office stuff, Power 3, but I really actually enjoyed that. And then I knew that I was adding value. But a lot of guys who come into these successful businesses, or even businesses that are just starting out, it's their baby, it's not yours. So you need to kind of tread carefully, and it's hard to find that place. And this is one of the great things about working with an upline that really cares and gets you. And it was Nathan who was like, you need to step into your light. You are there on your own merit, not on Lindsay, not on us, on you. And that really changed things for me. And I really wanted to find my place within doTERRA. And I feel I've done that. I feel like often we'll say it, like, I don't need Lindsay now to do doTERRA as a business, and Lindsay doesn't need me. But I sure as hell want her. I absolutely, like, I'd be in so much trouble without you.
And you have the energy about you guys. I mean, I love you. There's no mystery.
I think I actually realised quite how much Daniel did when we did Power 3, and Daniel was at WrestleMania.
Yes.
Not available. And I did end of month, and I was like, oh my God. gosh, like the pressure, and if there's one thing wrong, then the whole thing. And then I was like, oh my goodness, and I was so grateful when he got back. He's like, you can do it in a month now. So I think, being able to add things to each other, and I love that. That's definitely the one thing we instilled is morning meetings were a walk together. That was really good.
That's nice.
And we have separate offices, so we are working. We're working because otherwise we can distract each other so easily because you'll ask for the other one's opinion even if you don't really need it because they're next to you.
Of course.
So if we're at the kitchen table working, then things are much slower because we'll be like, what do you think of this?
Just bouncing over.
And so we still do that. We'll just send it. So having some space and the capacity to actually throw things back and forth. I think one of the things that works really well is that we'll mentor people slightly differently, and we know that sometimes people need Daniel and sometimes they need me, and so we used to be like, you're mentoring this person and I'm mentoring these people, so we had our little lists of people that we were kind of responsible for, and now it's kind of blurred a little bit because maybe they'll ask for a session with me, or they'll ask for a session with Daniel, or maybe they need more numbers, or they won't even ask, they'll just call Daniel or call me. And it's been so good to see that actually they can get what they need from either of us, and it works, and it's really good. It's so good to be able to combine the two together. So,
and that would have been my next question. Have you ever disagreed on how you lead the team? And if so, how did you manage to stay aligned during conflict, maybe?
I don't think we ever had a conflict about how to lead the team. We usually will discuss it. So as Daniel said, our goal is the same. It's kind of the intricacies of how that works. The logistics of it might be slightly different, and we might see it slightly differently. But generally, if I feel strongly or I have something that I'm really passionate about, then Daniel will support me to do it. And likewise, if Daniel's feeling passionate about something, I'll be like, go for it. And so we'll kind of free each other up to do it. And that was one of the things that as for our team as well as for our family, that I can just kind of go like, tag, you're in. Like, you're on parent duty, I'm out on doTERRA, or you're on doTERRA duty, I'm on parent. And I love that our children generally will have at least one of us. I don't think they quite realise how special that is. That they will pretty much always have one of us.
A couple of years.
Sure. Maybe when they have children, they'll realise that actually, gosh, this is it's not generally the case to have them, both of us available. Really, like they'll get home from school and we're both ready to hear the day. Which is really lovely. But it's the same for our team. Like they can bounce off both of us, and I really like that. And equally, if one of us needs space, like the WrestleMania thing, or you know, I need to go over to my mum's or whatever, then everything doesn't have to stop. I can just kind of,
you know, the other
you've
can
got
survive.
Both of it. I'm escaping to my forest.
Lindsay, Daniel, thank you so much for joining me for part 1 of this podcast. I'm super excited to bring you guys along for part 2. Are you excited about that?
Yeah, can't wait. It's going to be great.
So I'll see you guys soon, and thanks again.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to leave us a review and let us know your thoughts.